All right, Shalom Israel, Shalom. One sec, give me a minute. About to post the sign-in link. All right. Let's give the brothers a quick minute. We're supposed to be hopping in too.
Okay, Khan.
Okay. And you can hear me good, right, Ak?
Khan out of one Khan.
All right. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, Shalom Israel. I'm Officer 50 Darash, and we are the I.S.U.P.K. Started at 1 West Harlem, New York, 125th Street, under commanding General YAHANNA. We are the home of the truth. All right, today we're going to be dealing with a heavy topic, which is slavery and servitude according to the Bible. So we're going to be getting all the inner workings of how slavery works, how servitude works. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get all the scriptures, how to treat an Israelite servant, how to treat a heathen servant. You understand? We're going to break all that down. The law talks about all that stuff. So it's a heavy, heavy topic tonight. Get your notepads ready. All right. So we're going to start with, let's start with Genesis. Trooper Shariwan, if you can bring me to Genesis 27 and 29.
29. Khan out of one Khan. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 27 and verse 29. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let my mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth, blessed be he that blesseth thee.
So all right, so right here we got a precept where I just want to go over a few precepts where it's showing that servitude and slavery is actually it's a righteous thing in the eyes of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Like he condones it. He's pro servitude and slavery. We don't hear that much today in our society, our culture. When you bring that up, it's such a emotional topic. People get all stirred up about it, not realizing their whole kingdom was built on slavery. You know what I'm saying? These guys are ignorant about it, but they hate the fact that when we bring it out in camp, or whenever, the white man hates the fact that he's going to be a servant in the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to bring it out today that it is very biblical. So start from the top again. Read that verse one more time.
Khan out of one Khan. Book of Genesis, chapter 27 and verse 29. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren.
So hold on one
and let
sec.
thy
So it starts out by saying, let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee, and be Lord over thy brethren. Being a Lord over thy brethren, that's talking about Esau in this context, because he's giving the blessing to Jacob right here. Understand? So Lord over thy brethren, you know what I'm saying? And let the people serve thee. That can only mean one thing. You know what I'm saying? There's no Christianing your way out of this. You know what I'm saying? This is dealing with slavery and servitude. You know what I'm saying? The nations are going to bow down and they're going to serve us. That was a blessing given to our forefather Jacob, man.
Right.
And the Most High's word doesn't come back void. All right? Take me to Exodus 21, and we'll start from verse 1 on.
Another one, Khan. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 21 and verse 1. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. Verse 2. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing.
All right, so now we're going to be dealing with the having a Hebrew servant, meaning having an Israelite servant. Now we're going to break this chapter down real quick, and then we're going to show that there's a difference between having a Hebrew servant and having a heathen servant. The law is very specific on what you can and can't do with a Hebrew servant and a heathen servant. All right. So it says, if thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve thee, and in the 7th he shall go out for free. That's called the year of the Jubilee. We're going to get to that precept as well. That is, it means what it says. He's free after 7 years of servitude. All right. So go ahead, next verse.
Another one, verse 3. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him.
So simply meaning, if he comes in by himself, he's not going to be like, okay, well, since I just served you, I'm going to take this, this, and this. You know what I'm saying? This belongs to me. Shalom, officer. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatah.
All right. So, yeah, we're just going over slavery and servitude according to the law. All right. So now we're if you want to follow along, officer, we're in Exodus, the 21st chapter.
Khan.
All right. So, as verse 3 said, if he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. So he's not to, okay, he may get the inclination, oh, well, I just served, there's some things that belong to me, and I'm going to take it with me. Well, according to the law, you can't do that. If he came in with nothing, he's going out with nothing. You know what I'm saying? Now, the part, if he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. Read verse 4 so we can get more better understanding.
Verse 4. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself.
So the man that was bought and is now a Hebrew servant, the wife and the children are the property of that owner. You understand? So that was our custom and way back then, and is going to be in the kingdom. But the only difference is there's going to be nobody who's really poor like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's going to have to be a hired servant for over debt. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have all the riches, you know what I'm saying, in the earth. It's not that this law won't stand, but again, it's kind of like the sacrifice law. It's still there. It still stands, but we know Yahweh has fulfilled it. We don't really make atonement for sin no more. So this law stands, but a lot of the time when you see these servitude laws for a Hebrew, it's if your brother's in debt and he needs help, you know what I'm saying, he can serve you, you know what I'm saying, you can help him with his debt. At the year of the Jubilee, he's released, as we read. So this is what it's dealing with. The white man will read these. I've been showed this by the white man many times and be like, look, your Bible condones slavery. And I say, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then they're like, what the heck? How could you say that? And it's a twist because they're thinking I'm gonna be like, oh no, it doesn't really mean that. You know what I'm saying? That's not. No, it means what it means. That's exactly what it's saying. It condones slavery for our people, servitude. For the heathens, we're gonna get into that as well. Go ahead and finish verse 4, if you didn't.
So lucky I did too.
All right. So no sweat.
Verse 5. Verse 5. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with him all, and he shall serve him forever.
All right. So the things that he obtained, such as his wife and his kids, that stuff, if he wants to, because it says he'll take nothing out. He didn't come in with that wife and kids. The master gave him the wife and kids. Then if he wants that stuff, then he has to be his servant forever. And as it says, he's taken to the judges. He is born through his ear, and he now belongs to his master, and he can keep that stuff. That's basically what the scripture is saying. And simply put, go ahead and read verse 7.
Another one, Khan. Verse 7. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the manservant's doe.
Go ahead.
Verse 8. If she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her.
So now notice, if the female servant, the daughter that is a maid servant, if you notice, you cannot sell this Israelite child to a strange nation. Now we see that, for example, the Joseph, was sold to a strange nation by his brothers, which was against the Most High. But if you read the 50th chapter, he says that you guys planned this out for my evil, but the Most High planned it out for good. So now it was an evil thing. You're not supposed to do it. It's against the law. You know what I'm saying? So we can do that though with heathen. You know what I'm saying? We can trade servants and stuff. We can make dealings like that. You're gonna see that kind of stuff. When we're in power, like, all right, give me this amount of servants, we'll give you such and such. You know what I'm saying? And deals are always gonna be on our side. You know what I'm saying? We're always gonna set the standard. You know what I'm saying? All right, go ahead and read verse 9.
Another one, Khan. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters.
Go ahead.
Verse 10. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
So the female servant, who she belongs to, if he gets another wife, he cannot mistreat. You know what I'm saying? That maid servant. You understand? He can't. There's another law about that, kind of like that in Deuteronomy 21 about if a man has two wives. We all know, we're all familiar with it. What it says, you can't mistreat the firstborn, etc. Of the second wife. So it's kind of the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Now the part that says, and if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. I have to get the clarification from Officer Aban, but I believe what it's saying is the maid. If he gives out the maid servant and gives her to marriage, I'm pretty sure that's what it's saying. But let me double check with Aban. If you guys really want to get back to me, and I will have the answer. But I don't want to say I'm 100% sure if that's what that's dealing with. All right. So now you can go ahead and read verse 11.
Another one, Khan. Verse 11. And if he do not these three under her, then shall she go out free without money.
Verse 12. Oh no, Salakia, don't read verse 12. So that was basically, those are the verses dealing with servitude and slavery and how to treat a Hebrew servant. So we've seen some of the customs we had. You know what I'm saying? If they come in with nothing, they go out with nothing. If they were to come in with a wife and husband, then they would go out with that stuff. Hebrew servant cannot say, well, this stuff belongs to me. I just served you, so I'm going to take it with me. He cannot do that, things like that. You have to, again, if you give your maid servant unto marriage and the man takes him a second wife, he cannot, the duty, the raiment shall not be diminished. We see customs like that. So we respect, and in other words, the law, again, is that we respect our people. We don't mistreat our people. Understand? We can have them as servants, but we cannot rule over them with rigor. Now, we're going to get into that right now because we have precepts that show how you can treat a non-Israelite servant.
Salakia.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted clarification. So for verse 10, it's saying that if the master takes the servant woman as a wife, that's like as his second wife, he has to treat her with like all the wifely duties and like treat her like an actual wife.
So that's why I'm gonna get clarification from Officer Bond, because it seems like verse 9 is saying if he had betrothed her unto his son. So I think the he in verse 10 is that son that is spoken about in verse 9, but that's a good question. Let me get back to you guys on that to double check. I don't want to give any wrong information, but it appears like that's what it's talking about. The he would be the son that he betrothed that woman to. You know what I'm saying?
Khan.
Right. All right. So I'm going to get back to you guys on that for sure. Okay, Officer Zabaja, if you could get me Leviticus 25, starting from verse 35.
Khan, I got you.
All right. Yeah, let's get that one right now. All
You
right.
said 25, 35.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to Leviticus 25, verse 35.
All right, I got it whenever you're ready.
All right, go ahead.
Leviticus 25, 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, through he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
All right, so let's stop right there. So now, if a brother be waxen, remember we brought this out earlier, Trooper Shariwan. If your brother is waxen poor and fallen into decay, meaning if he today, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm in. If it, if we relate that today, it's like if I come to you and I say, oh, I'm in debt. You know what I'm saying? I got all these bills to pay. I can't afford it. Let me serve you. You will help pay off my debt and all my stuff like that. That's exactly what the scripture is talking about. All right. If thy brother be waxen poor and fall into decay, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. So now, when it's in this context right here, the stranger or the sojourner is not a heathen. It's talking about the Israelite that maybe was living in another land or in a different region of Jerusalem or the land of Canaan. This is not talking about a heathen. The reason why is because it's going to talk about a heathen a few verses down, and it's going to tell you how to deal with him. So this is not talking about a heathen. This is talking about your brother. All right, go ahead, read the next verse out.
Khan, I got you. Verse 35. Take thou no usury of him or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee.
All right, does anybody know what take no usury of him means?
Salaki, I believe it means interest.
Exactly. That's right. It means you can't charge him interest. So if he owes you $5,000, he's only paying $5,000. But we're going to get to the precepts that show if he's a heathen, you can charge him extra or interest. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get to this. Is how you know it's not talking about a heathen here, because you're not allowed to charge your brother interest. You can charge the heathen. So verse 36 clears up who that stranger or sojourner is. All right. So go ahead and read verse 37 up.
Khan. Verse 37. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase.
Now, I'll have to double check what victuals of increase mean. I'm not sure what that word is, and for time's sake, because we got a lot to cram in, I'm not about to go look it up, but I'm going to double check what victuals mean. But the verse is basically saying the same thing. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him the victuals of an increase. So no giving the money in with the intent of saying, I'm about to give him this 5,000, but I'm about to get more back. You cannot do that with your brother. It's against the law. You know what I'm saying? All right, verse 38.
Khan. Verse 38. For I am the Lord your God. Salakia. For I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your God.
All right. So now another thing that the Most High is always emphasizing is he is the God that brought us out of the land of Egypt. We brought that out a couple classes back. That is part of his character, his name, something to fear and reverence about the Most High Yahweh, that he is the one that delivers. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to. Okay, so here's the meat of it. Let's go to verse 39 up.
Khan. Verse 39. And if thy brother that dwelleth with thee be waxen poor and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant.
All right. Who knows what a bondservant is?
Salakia, would it be a slave?
It's basically you could say it's a more harsh word of a slave. It's like, and the reason why it's gonna explain what you can and what you can't do with a bondservant. You can't have an Israelite as a bondservant, and you can't have an Israelite woman as a bondmaid. And there's a reason why, and it's gonna show you why, and we're gonna get more precepts because it's the law of the Most High is amazing, man. The way He loves His people is deep. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and read verse 40 and go ahead and read verse 40.
Con, sir, I got you. Verse 40. But as an hired servant and as a sojourner he shall be with thee, and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee.
Keep going.
41. And shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return.
Keep going. Keep going.
41. And then shall thee depart from thee.
Oh no, Salakia, 42.
42. For they are, Salakia, this is Exodus 25:42. For they are servants which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen.
All right. So now we're
Okay.
going to break that down. The scripture just said that the Israelites are not to be bondmen nor bondmaids. All right. Again, verse 41, like we dealt with in Exodus 21, Trooper Shariwan, the year of the Jubilee, after 7 years, they are free to go with his family. He can return, you know what I'm saying, go back, you know what I'm saying, his children. He's free after the 7 years. A bondman and a bondwoman, they're not. They are not free. They can be held forever as servants. And then we're going to get into another factor that can be done to a bondman and a bondwoman that cannot be done to a Hebrew or Israelite servant. And it's pretty deep, all right? Go ahead and read verse 43.
Con, sir, I got you. Exodus 25:43. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor. Salakia. 43. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear thy God.
All right, so now it's saying, thou shalt not rule over him with rigor. That's talking about that Israelite servant that it was spoken of, the one that you cannot have as a bondman. No ruling over him with rigor. All right, keep going up.
Con. Verse 44. Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids which thou shalt have shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of both, Salakia, of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids.
So what it just said, of the heathen that are round about you, you can buy as bondmen and bondmaids. So again, an Israelite or an Israelite woman is not to be a bondman or a bondwoman. The difference is, again, a bondman is not free after the 7 years. He's not free at the Jubilee, and he can be ruled over with rigor. A Hebrew servant is free after the 7 years, unless, of course, he wants to keep the things that his master gave to him. Then he's belongs to his master forever. But a bondman and a bondservant, a bondmaid, Salakia, they belong to you. And we're going to read that right now. Keep going up.
Salakia. For Exodus 25:45. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourner among you, of them shall you buy and of their families that are with you, which they begot in your land, and they shall be your possession.
So they are the families, the children of the strangers. They are going to be your possession. And we're going to read the next one. And Salaki, I just want to let you know it's Leviticus. We're reading, not Exodus. I know you're saying Exodus. Just want to let you know it's Leviticus.
Salakia.
Yeah, no sweat, no sweat. All right. So now watch what verse 46 says. Go ahead.
Leviticus 25:46. And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for possession.
Wait, Salakia, pause for a sec. So now it says you can take them as an inheritance for your children, meaning they're going to breed, they can breed and stuff, but their children and their children, they're going to be inheritance for your children. And there's other precepts that talk about that. We're going to get into it. So that's what you can do forever and ever, man. We could, if we were good under King, I always bring this up. If we were good under King Solomon, when he was ruling and reigning in the 3rd chapter, it describes him ruling over all the countries of the east. He had the Edomites in subjection, the Moabites, the Philistines. He had all of them. They were all under his rule. We beat them at war, and then they belonged to us. If he had kept the commandments and his sons and his sons and his sons, we would be, we'd already have the kingdom of heaven. You know what I'm saying? And all the children and all the rest of the heathen, they would all belong to us. You know what I'm saying? They all would have. Let me take that off. They all would have belonged to us. You know what I'm saying? As it says, as a possession for your children. That's what we can do with bondmen and bondwomen. A bond servant, but you can't do that with a Hebrew servant. See the difference here in the law about slavery? The Most High loves his people, man. His laws are for the better and empowerment of his people, not the heathen. They're not gonna like to hear that. So a lot of them they won't like to hear that. You know what I'm saying? All right, go ahead and finish up that verse after possession.
Khan, I got you, sir. Leviticus 25:46, mid-verse. They shall be your bondmen forever, but over your brethren, the children of Israel, ye shall not rule one over another with rigor.
Damn, are you guys reading that? But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you cannot rule over with rigor.
Right.
So and you can possess them for how long, Trooper Shah? What does it say?
Forever.
Forever. We can possess them and their children forever. That's what the law is saying about heathen servitude, man. And we can rule over them with rigor, but over the children of Israel, you cannot. That's a beautiful thing on my sight. Look at that. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and we're going to read up to verse 47 now. We're going to finish up with verse 47.
Khan. Exodus 25, Salakia. Leviticus 25:47. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of the stranger's family.
Read verse 48.
Verse 48. After that he is sold, he may be redeemed. Again, one of his brethren may redeem him.
All right, now, verse 47 and verse 48 are dealing with a heathen, not a heathen, like an Israelite, whether it be a stranger or a sojourner. If he ends up being a servant towards a heathen. And now the reason it's saying this is because in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, in the 43rd verse, one of the curses was that the stranger that is among you will get up very high above you, and you'll be very low, and you're going to end up having to serve him. So if we're in our land, and it just so happens you see one of us, an Israelite, ends up serving a heathen as a bondservant, you know what I'm saying? He has debt to pay, whatever, and now he belongs to that heathen, you can redeem him. If you have the money, you can buy him from that heathen, so that way he's not stuck with that heathen. The Most High is telling you, look, I don't want you to be stuck with them, so your brothers can buy you out. You know what I'm saying? That's why the curse in verse 68 is so harsh, because it says no one's going to what? Redeem you. No one's going to buy you out of it. This slavery is no joke, the curses, you know what I'm saying? But this one, again, if when we were in our land, if that was ever a situation when we were in power, that we could easily buy him out. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about serving that heathen. All right? So that was that for this chapter. We clearly see in the law, servitude and slavery with rigor is okay. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to what the customs of this world say, it is okay, it's a good thing, and the Most High wants it to happen, so that way we don't gotta work at the sweat of our brow. You know what I'm saying? Let the heathens that afflicted us do it. You know what I'm saying? So that is very clear. Let's get Trooper Shayawan. You can bring me to Deuteronomy 15 and verse 1.
Another one, Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 15 and verse 1. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release.
You can go ahead.
Verse 2. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release.
All right. So now we just read this about, again, the years. The year of the release is another way of saying the year of the Jubilee. At the year of this Jubilee, all debts are paid. Nobody has to. I mean, it's like all debts are released. You know, today, like if your credit after every 7 years, this is where they got it from. They stole a lot of stuff from here. So it's the same thing. If I was working for you as a hired servant, a Hebrew servant, whether I wasn't working for you but I owed you money, it's all released, and it's a General Hyman broke this down excellent in one class. Like it was so clear when he did it. Like it is a way to keep the economic and financial structure of Israel intact, so that as a nation we don't wax poor and become oppressed. But today, they say they follow it, but they don't. They don't do that. If you owe money, you owe money. Your credit card, the score is released every 7 years. But if you still owe money to somebody, they're not gonna. If you owe money on a car, a vehicle loan, they're not gonna let it go in 7 years. They don't give a damn about that. And that is all strategically planned, again, to keep the children of Israel oppressed. And it's not a custom of the Most High Yahweh. And that's why this nation is collapsing right now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Trooper Sakad. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Rakatah. What's going on, warrior? Good to see you checking in. All right. We're breaking down slavery and servitude today according to the law, according to the Bible. You understand? All right. So go ahead and read verse 3.
Another one, Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 15 and verse 3. Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release.
You see what it said there? Of a foreigner. Now, in this context, because we know you cannot exact it with an Israelite, this foreigner is dealing with a heathen. You know what I'm saying? Again, another side note, the way you find out, because the strangers and stranger and sojourner is used so much in the Bible, the way you find out who it's talking about is context. Sometimes you need to go to the definition of the word, but a lot of times I find is context. You know what I'm saying? And just having an understand working knowledge of the Bible. All right? Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but the one that's your brother, you cannot do it. Meaning the heathen that owes you money, the heathen that is your bondman, after the 7 years, he thinks he's going away. He's not going nowhere. He belongs to you, and his kids belong to your kids. You know what I'm saying? And that is righteous in the Most High's eyes. You know what I'm saying? Let's give him a hand. You know, let's give the Most High a hand for that. All right. Read verse 4. This is heavy.
Another one, Khan, verse 4. save when there shall be no poor among you. For the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it.
Now, I mentioned this earlier. This is I mentioned this earlier a little bit. Like, if we, he wants us to be blessed to a point where we don't have to have Israelites owing money at all. We don't even have to, not that we're not concerned of the year of the Jubilee, but when it comes around, we're like, hey, everybody's good. We're all on top. We're above all nations. We got all the money coming. There is no poor among you. That's one of the blessings. And that's what his intention was. So he's saying, like, right there, if it had got to that state, then it's not something to be concerned with, because there is no poor among you. The heathen are doing all your work. You know what I'm saying? So that's a beautiful thing, man. So he said he'll greatly bless us in the land. You know what I'm saying? And that way there'll be no poor among you at all, and nobody's gonna owe you money. No Israelite will have to be a hired servant. We all got it. You know what we say in the hood? If I got it, you got it. We're all gonna have it. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. So go ahead and read verse 5.
Another one time. Only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all these commandments, which I command thee this day. Verse 6. For the Lord thy God blesseth thee, as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations.
Wait, stop right there. It says thou shalt lend to many nations. This is also in Deuteronomy 28, that we will not borrow, we'll be lending to the nations. Our baskets will be full. Keep going.
But thou shalt not borrow.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee.
Look at that. That is heavy. We're not going to lend to the nations. We're not going to borrow. We're just going to be lending. It's going to get to the point we're going to be so blessed that they're going to have to come to us for resources, for money, for everything. And we're just going to be so blessed. We're going to give that, we're going to give that stuff out. And we're not going to be reigned over. We are going to reign over them. Reign means to rule. In the context of ruling, Christ said it in the second chapter, the 25th verse of Revelation. We're going to rule over them with the rod of iron. It's going to be a strict government they got to follow. You know what I'm saying? And that government, it starts right here in the I.S.U.P.K. We are the government of the Most High. We are that mountain of the Lord that Micah, the 4th chapter, talks about. When in those days, the mountain of the Lord will be set up. That's talking about us. You know what I'm saying? That's us right there. So we're going to reign over many nations. And we are not going to be reigned over, and we're not going to have to borrow. But of course, look at us today. We're in a state where we go to these oppressors for want of all things. You want to start your own business? Unless you get a loan, don't even think about it. Either you get the loan or you go slave a bit to save up some money from who? The white man. We're in want of all things with these people. But in our land, it was not so, man. We would have been, our forefathers paved the way for a beautiful nation. We would have been blessed. We just go to our own people, start our own business, you know what I'm saying? Hire some bondmen. Imagine that. That's a beautiful thing this law is dealing with. Read it again from the but thou shalt.
Another one, Khan. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, but shalt not borrow. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee.
But thou shalt reign over many nations, man. From the start of the nation of Israel, the Most High's intention was for us to be on top. You know what I'm saying? To reign over these people. And that's just to tie into slavery and servitude. That is the outcome of it. It's reigning and ruling. You know what I'm saying? Officer Zabadja, could you bring me to Joshua, verse chapter 9, and we're gonna start from. Is that correct? Yeah, Joshua chapter 9. Let me get the verse for you. One sec, Salakia. So yeah, Joshua. Start from verse 1, just so we can get some context, see what's going on.
Khan, sir, I got you. Joshua verse 1. Joshua chapter 1, verse 1.
Oh no, Salakia. It's Joshua 9 and verse 1. Salakia, that may have been my fault.
Salakia, no, I heard you. I just went to to chapter 1 for some reason.
No sweat.
Joshua 9, verse 1. Joshua 9, verse 1. And it came to pass when all the kings which were on this side Jordan, in the hills and in the valleys, and in all the coast of the great sea, over against Lebanon, the Hittite and the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite heard thereof.
You can go to verse 3. All the way to, you read verse 2 and verse 3.
Khan. Verse 2. That they gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel and with one with one accord. Verse 3. And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done unto Jericho and unto Ai.
Yeah, I have to get I always actually haven't asked, but I'm wondering how that's pronounced as well. I say AI as well. That's right. I say AI, but yeah, just go ahead. Actually, Salakia, can you go down to verse 7, 8, and 9? That's what I need specifically.
Khan. This is Joshua 9, verse 7. And the men of Israel said unto the Hivites, peradventure ye dwell among us, and how shall we make a league with you? Verse 8. And they said unto Joshua, we are thy servants. And Joshua said unto them, who are ye, and from whence ye come? Verse 9. And they said unto him, from a very far country thy servants are come, because of the name of thy Lord. For we have heard the fame of him and all that he did in Egypt.
All right, so stop right there. So now these nations, these Canaanite nations, they tried to deceive Joshua and to basically say, no, we're not those disgusting Canaanites that he was killing off, to get kill them off to get them out of the land. Because Joshua was on a mission of war. We all know that. He was a straight assassin. He was going around killing them all. You know what I'm saying? He was taking these guys out. So these guys are like, no, we're not Canaanites. we're from a far country, you know what I'm saying? We're good. Like, they lied because they want to be killed off. They want to dwell in Jerusalem and be safe. So they lied, but of course the Most High was with Joshua and he caught on. So just to get some context and see who these people are, again, these are obviously not Israelites. Now let's go to verse, one sec, Salakia. We'll start from verse 21. No.
Chapter 9, 21.
Salakia, we're going to start from verse 20. Yeah, let's do 21. Verse 21.
Khan. This is Joshua 9, 21. And the princes said unto them, let them live, but let them be hewers of wood and drawers of water unto all the congregation, as the princes had promised them.
All right, so right off the bat, let them be hewers of, he's talking about these people, let them be hewers of wood and drawers of water. That's a form of servitude that, again, he is putting on these Israelites. And the next verses we're going to get into, you see the same pattern. We didn't, if we could, when we were in a state of when we were good with the Most High, we didn't have any Israelite servants or slaves. You know what I'm saying? It was all for the heathen. Go ahead, keep reading.
22. And Joshua called for them, and he spake unto them, saying, Wherefore have ye beguiled us, saying, We are very far from you, when ye dwell among us.
So Joshua caught on to the little lie. He's like, you're not far at all. You guys dwell among us. So they lied to Joshua. They tried to deceive him because they didn't want their heads chopped off. You know what I'm saying? And they wanted to pretend they weren't Canaanites. So go ahead, read verse 23.
Just so we're clear. So yeah. Verse 21 is talking about these heathens basically. Verse 21 is basically saying the Israelites are telling Joshua that let the heathens stay.
So yeah, the princes is like the 12 princes from each nation that we had set up. Said let them live, but let them be hewers of wood and drawers of water unto all the congregation. So they're basically like, look, they're already here, they're already established. Instead of killing them, let's just make them our slaves. That's basically what he's saying. Nothing wrong with that, you know what I'm saying? There were some Canaanites that the Bible said were not pushed out because some of the tribes, I don't want to say they weren't mad enough, but they just couldn't accomplish it. You know what I'm saying? That could be either due to them not following the Most High properly or whatever, but it does talk about some Canaanites that did dwell among them. And of course, they would have been tributaries and servants, and we're going to get into that as well. So, Khan, that's exactly what it's talking about right there.
And one more. And then verse 22 is basically Joshua is just catching on to that these heathens are lying.
Right. Yeah. When you're on your own time, if you want, go ahead and read that chapter. I didn't want to break down the whole chapter just for time's sake, but you're exactly right. He's catching on now, and it explains that when you read the rest of the verses. But he caught on. He's like, what the heck? And then we're going to see what he says in verse 23.
Khan. This is Joshua 9:23. Now therefore ye are cursed, and there shall none of you be freed from being bondmen and hewers of wood and drawers of water for the house of my God.
So now you're cursed. That's it. You messed up. You know, right. I ain't gonna tell you like the princes had given counsel to me to do, but you're never ever. He quoted the law. We just read. They said you're never gonna be free. You're always gonna be drawing this water, and that is that. And boy, man, on my slavery today, I'm just thinking about, man, imagine I had to do this forever, and my children had to do this forever, and so on and so on. That is rough. Thank the Most High he made you an Israelite. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That is rough. But all right. So yeah, basically that's what he said. He quoted Joshua knowing Leviticus 25, Joshua knowing Exodus 21. He's like, y'all are not going to be free. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You can go ahead and read. I don't say verse 20. Yeah, go ahead and read verse 27 now.
27?
Khan,
sir, I got you. Joshua, verse 27. Salakia. Joshua 9, verse 27. And Joshua made them that day hewers of wood and drawers of water for the congregation and for the altar of the Lord, even unto this day in the place which he should choose.
Right. So again, we see the result of that. Slavery, again, that is a biblical thing. The Most High condones it. That's another precept right there. Get me Trooper Sharyuan. Get me 2 Chronicles chapter 8, verse 7 and 9. This is another interesting precept right here.
Salaki, what was that what were those precepts again?
Second Chronicles chapter 8, verse 7 and 9. Second Chronicles 8, verse 7.
Another one, Khan. It's the Second Chronicles chapter 8, and verse 7. As for all the people that were left of the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which were not of Israel, but of their children who were left after them in the land, whom the children of Israel consumed not, them did Solomon make to pay tribute.
All right. So as I was saying earlier, there were some Canaanites that was not consumed and was not destroyed, but they were just left in the land to be slaves. Pay tribute means to pay taxes. We do it today. The white man, we're on their land, they rule it. We pay taxes to them. Actually, interesting fact, the white man is like, well, when you're reading the Bible, the white man is like the only nation that makes his own people pay taxes. Like that, these people are sick. Even the ancient countries and kingdoms we read about, they wouldn't make their own people pay taxes like that. They'd make the strangers do it. That was just a custom of, Near Eastern people. But now you got the white man. This guy's like, I don't give a damn. I'm making my own people pay. I'm making the strangers. So like, man, these guys are the devil. The Bible speaks. All right,
They want it all.
Right. So the Canaanites that were not consumed by the sword, by Joshua, they were just, as we read, they were to pay tribute, pay taxes, and be servants, bondmen and bondwomen. To this day, the custom was kept. So now, what we're dealing with now is Solomon. We're going to get in verse 9, what he did with the heathen. Go ahead and read verse 9 out.
Another one, Khan. Until this day, verse 9. But the children of Israel did Solomon make no servants for his work.
So hold on, he made no. So of the children of Israel, did Solomon make no servants of his work? Go ahead.
Another one, Khan. But they were men of war, and chief of his captains, and captains of his chariots and horsemen.
Go ahead.
Verse 10. And these were the chief of King Solomon's officers, even 250 that bear rule over the people.
All right. So now again, so will we see the same thing that the law says? And in this context, Solomon was good, man. His throne was established. His kingdom was on top of all the kingdoms around about that area, and he was continuing to conquer over. He would end up conquering the whole world, man, and passing that throne on to his sons and so on and so on, and we'd be in heaven. But of course, our ancestors messed up. You read Kings and Chronicles, you see that. But he didn't make no servants of his people. You know what I'm saying? They all came from who? The heathen. You know what I'm saying? That's who they came from. His people, they were captains and men of war and generals and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not servants, because he knew the law said that if we were blessed or no poor among you, you wouldn't need that. And that's a beautiful thing. Now, let's get into some precepts. I think we're all familiar with. Officers of Baja, can you get me Isaiah 14, 1 and 2?
Khan, I got you.
Isaiah 14, verse 1.
Isaiah 14, verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob.
All right, so let's deal with this one first. All right, so we all know what this is. The strangers shall be joined, and we're gonna bring them, and they're gonna cleave to us, and it's simply cleaving to us. Now, I have not seen a Christian use this verse to try to prove that the Gentiles or the heathens can be saved. I haven't seen that yet, but if they do, all you simply have to say is cleave is like this. It's like in Zechariah, I believe it's the eighth chapter, where it talks about them coming and cleaving to the skirt of one that is a Jew and saying, "God is with you, we'll go with you." You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it is. The heathen are gonna recognize and say, "Oh man, like the Most High is with them. We're gonna go cleave. We're gonna do whatever they say." And you know what I'm saying? That's what that means. It doesn't mean they're gonna be saved in our land. They're gonna be blessed. You know what I'm saying? That's not what that means. At this context, we're returning from captivity. They're gonna see the light with us, and they're gonna cleave, man. That's all that is. So go ahead and read verse 2.
Come on, I got you. Verse Isaiah 14, verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them into their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
Right.
Give a shout out to Officer Bond. Shalom, Adwani, how about Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua.
All right. Let's give a hand to Officer Bond for all the work he does. Always going to give him a hand. All right. So now we are familiar with this verse, and we shall rule over their oppressors and take them captives, whose captives they were. The ones that enslaved us, we are going to take them as slaves. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. It's that simple. And we're going to rule over them. Rule over them. Again, we read that in Deuteronomy 15:6. We're going to reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. We're going to rule. Now, something I want to point out. Well, obviously, two things. The scripture, again, is pro-slavery. The second thing is you may come across, you know what I'm saying, when you guys are, when you're dealing with Christians out there, you may hear a couple people try to say that this prophecy was fulfilled already. Does anybody have any idea how you would cut that mindset? There's an explanation and a verse, and if you guys can get it, that would be too loud. Anyone want to give it a try? So basically, they say that this was fulfilled when Ezra took his people out, when they were coming out of Babylon, because in verse 62 it says, it describes them having servants when they were leaving Babylon and coming back to Jerusalem. So they say, look, this is fulfilled, servants. This is done already. This is not a future prophecy. How would you answer that?
Salakia, if I could try.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's Revelation 14:3.
What's it say?
I think it. Don't remember exactly book, chapter, verse, but it says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity."
Right, but now remember, they're gonna say the debt is paid. We went back into captivity since the Babylonians had you in captivity. They went into serve because it says in Ezra that we had servants and handmaids. So they're gonna say, yeah, that did happen. Well, how would you break that down to them?
Yeah. How would you break this down for the Lord?
Because now this is a popular. I've watched many debates in the past, and I've seen Christians try to use it. And some Israelites, well, not Israelites in the truth, of course, because we don't get confounded in the I.S.U.P.K, but they get confounded. But we know we don't get confounded. So I'll break it down to you real quick. First of all, it says that we would rule over our land. All right, we'd rule over our land. Trooper Yawan, could you quickly bring me to Nehemiah, the 9th chapter and the 31st verse? This is how you cut that way of thinking real quick. It's real easy. You know what I'm saying? This is a clean cut because it says we would rule over our oppressors and we'd be lords over that land. Well, let's see what Nehemiah says. If that's the case, if this was fulfilled in Ezra and Nehemiah, let's see what it says.
Salak here.
No sweat. Whatever you got it. So it's Nehemiah 9 and 36. Officer Zabaj, if you got it, you can go ahead and read it.
Yeah, Khan, so I'm getting it right now.
Oh, okay. All right. No sweat. All right. Because, again, they say that this was fulfilled in Ezra when we were coming out of Babylon, but we're going to see the scripture is very plain. It says that it cannot have been fulfilled because it says that the prophecy in Isaiah 14 says that we would rule over, our oppressors and be lords over our land. You know what I'm saying?
Salak,
So
you said Nehemiah 9 and 36?
yeah.
Khan, so I got it right now. Okay.
All right. No sweat. Go ahead.
Okay. Nehemiah 9 and 36. Behold, Salakia, behold, we are servants this day, and for the land that thou gavest unto our fathers to eat the fruit thereof and the good thereof. Behold, we are servants in it.
All right. So now it says, behold, we are servants this day, and the land that our forefathers gave us, we are servants in it. It doesn't say we're ruling in it, as Isaiah 14 said. It said we are servants in it. Now, this is the Medo-Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great, as he's called. He's also mentioned in Ezra, the first chapter. He was in charge of us, man. We were not ruling over this land. We were not ruling over no oppressors. We were still under one of the seven, the beasts, the kingdoms that Daniel prophesied about. We were not ruling and reigning in our own land. So that idea that's out the window, according to the Bible. You know what I'm saying? If anybody tries to ever combat you, because this is a very strong verse, Isaiah 14:1 and 2. So if anybody tries to combat that, that's how you say, look, that's not what that's talking about. And you take them right to that verse right there. We are strangers and we are servants in it. You know what I'm saying? In our land. So that was it, Officers Abadja, on Isaiah 14:1 and 2. Yeah, that was
Khan, that was in it. That was it.
All right, no sweat. Trooper Shariawan, could you take me to Isaiah 49, the 22nd verse?
Verse
22 and verse 23, Isaiah 49. All right. Now, again, we're going to see more. We've already dealt with the law bringing it out. So we're going to see now the prophets bringing out slavery and servitude. We're going to see, we're going to get to the verse in the New Testament that deals with it. You know what I'm saying? The Most High, again, this culture and this way of living, it's hypocrisy because they don't accept it, yet their nation was built off of it. That's a key factor you have to understand about the white man. They'll tell you slavery and servitude is not okay. We're all free people. Yet they got jobs. We got bosses in here. The whole nation was built on it. So they don't even know what they're talking about, man. They're living in la la land. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you got that verse out, go ahead.
Another one, Khan. The book of Isaiah, chapter 49 and 22.
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people. And they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders.
All right, and so when it says in King shall so like it does say the Lord, I will lift up my hand to the Gentiles and set my standard. What it means is the next part of it, and they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. He's gonna lift up his standard. They're gonna be convicted to bring us back. Like all the Israelites that are adopted by heathen women, heathen parents, they're gonna have to bring them back to the Most High, man. All the scattered Israelites out in those nations, the heathen are gonna be responsible for bringing them to Jerusalem and say, "Oh, this is the Most High Yahweh's property, not ours," and they're gonna be on their knees. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and read verse 23.
Khan, verse 23. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me.
All right, now this is the boot kiss verse. Of course, we all know what this means. They're gonna lick up the dust of our feet. But if you notice at the beginning of the verse, it says, "Kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers." Nursing meaning, again, instead of us serving their kings are gonna serve us, man. The greatest in their kingdoms, they're gonna be nothing but dirt in ours, and they're gonna be serving us. All these nations that afflicted us, man. They're gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be serving the same way we had to nurse the white man's children, you know what I'm saying, in the house. Well, guess what's going to happen this time? You already know. And they're going to bow down their face toward the earth, and because they're going to reverence us, man. When they see that the Most High is with us, they're going to know, like, man, these are the princes of the power. And they're going to bow down to us as if we are gods, because that's what the Bible says, man. That we are gods. You know what I'm saying? Officers of Badja, can you bring me to Isaiah 60 and verse 9? Isaiah 60 and 9. All right. Isaiah knew what was about to go down, man. He did not hide back nothing. He knew that these heathens are going into slavery before they did. You know what I'm saying?
Isaiah 60, verse 9. Surely the yields. Salakia, did I say that right?
The isles.
Salakia, because I have the King James, so it's the eyes are wise sometimes. Salakia. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first. But bring thy sons from far.
Salakia. So as we just read in Isaiah 49, again, all the scattered Israelites, some of these heathen, they're going to be responsible for bringing them back. We see the same thing, Isaiah, the same thought, same understanding. Bring those children back, wherever they are, from far, close, wherever. They got to come back. They don't belong to you. You know what I'm saying? All those white parents that adopting black kids, that's a curse. They don't belong to them. They're going to have to bring them back. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Ak.
Khan. To bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the house, Salakia, and to the holy ones of Israel, because he hath glorified thee.
Right, so they're going to have to, not only are they going to have to bring their children, our children, but they're going to have to bring all their possessions. Because technically, by them stealing the Native Indians' land, the Most High gave them, all this stuff and all these gold and stuff belongs to us, man. It doesn't belong to them. They stole it, just like they steal everything else. So you're going to have to bring all those riches back to us. You know how much gold Solomon had? It was like, I was looking it up, it was worth like today trillions and trillions of dollars, man. That's how rich he was. All of it's got to come back to us, all the riches, because we know how to deal with it. That's why we tell Israelites today, pay your tithes to the ISUPK, because us as a nation, we know what to do with it. We're not going to be taking your tithe money and going on vacations. You know what I'm saying? We know what to do with the storehouse. You know what I'm saying? It's the commandment to pay your tithes. You understand? That's why we say that today. You know what I'm saying? We know what we're going to do with these riches of the nations. We know exactly what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You can read verse 10.
Khan, I got you. Isaiah 60, verse 10. And sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Trooper Shah, can you get me Isaiah 61 and 1 ready? So now, strangers shall build up thy walls. That's a form of servitude. We're going to have those nations, the ones that afflicted us and the nations around the belt, they're going to build up our walls, man. They're going to be building our kingdom, man. Like in Psalms 105 and 15, it talks about verse 44, talks about a land that we entered the land of Canaan and we possessed the labor of the people. We didn't, they had the place built up and we got to possess that. It's the same thought pattern. These guys are going to build up our walls. They're going to help repair Jerusalem. And most importantly, they're going to clean up this mess they have caused on the earth. The nation of Esau is going to clean up the mess and the disaster he caused. Then eventually he's going extinct. And that's thus says the Lord. That's not thus says me. That's thus says the Lord. Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 11. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought.
So that the forces of the Gentiles is like another word for saying, you can say like their stuff, their riches, their power, the things they possess, the forces of the Gentiles. It's all going to be brought to us. And now again, this all ties back to the law, because a bondman, you think his stuff belongs to him? We just got done reading a Hebrew servant, the one for 7 years. The things that the master gives him, that still belongs to the master. How much more a heathen bondman? Nothing belongs to him no more, man. We're literally going to be in charge of the whole earth. You know what I'm saying? But the ruling and reigning of the earth, again, that's technically another class. We're just dealing with servitude, but that's got to be mentioned, man. Like, that's heavy. Go ahead and read verse 12.
Karnak, I got you. Isaiah 60, verse 12. For the nation and the kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Ye, those nations, shall be utterly wasted.
So the Most High just said, the nations that won't be your slaves, they're going to perish. They're going to go extinct just like Esau. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be wiped out. They have to serve you. They have to serve you because that's the Most High's will. That's his righteous act. That's a glorious thing in the Most High's eyes. That's why he said that. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and read verse 14.
Khan. Verse 14. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. All they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel.
Now, I just wanted to read this one because you ever hear those Christians talk about, or not even Christians, just heathens in general, just be like, oh, well, why are you bringing up all this slavery, man? That was hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And that wasn't me. That was my forefathers. Well, this scripture is the perfect way to cut that. It says the sons of them that afflicted thee. Because the reason why the Most High said the sons of them is because he knows slavery and oppression, that's not going to just last one lifetime or half of somebody's lifespan. That's going to carry out throughout that curse is going to be carried out throughout the generations, and the heathen that did it are going to profit off you, and their children are going to profit off you. That's why he said the sons of them that afflicted thee, they're going to have to pay the price because their forefathers did it. But guess what? Now you as their children are benefiting off of the slavery and the disgusting things that you guys did to our people. You guys are benefiting off it today.
Right?
I tagged you in a post, Officer Zabaja and an Officer Adiyar, about those white kids in that college. You see what they were doing? That's what they built their kingdom up for, man. Just having fun, just enjoying life. Yeah, go ahead.
I seen that poster. They are definitely not under oppression. They are enjoying their kingdom. Like they got too much time on their hands. They don't have to worry about none of the stuff we have to worry about on a regular. Like they're happy. That's the word I'm going to use. They're happy.
Like you just said it perfectly. They got too much time on their hands. They're in heaven. That is their heaven. They're just living the life, man. And in college, they're probably a college that their parents paid for. You know what I'm saying? Because they destroyed and savaged the people of the Native Indians, and now they can just live their life, and that's their heaven. And they're gonna go into slavery for it, plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? So that's the end of this chapter. Trooper Shah, you want? If you got that verse, we can go ahead.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 61 and verse 1. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath appointed me to preach. Because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
All right, so now this is again another prophecy by Isaiah. You know what I'm saying? The Spirit of the Lord is upon him to teach good tidings, or another word, good news. That's another way to say good tidings is good news. And what are we here today in the Christian church? You guys want to hear the good news of Jesus Christ? Well, the good news is that you people are going into slavery. That is literally the good news. We're gonna get that in the next verse. Go to we're gonna read verse 5. Actually, verse 4. The good news is slavery for the other nations. The good news is a righteous rulership for the Israelites, man. Go ahead.
Another one, verse 4. And they shall build the old wastes. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations.
The desolation of many generations, man. The Native Indians have been desolate for many generations, man. Blacks and Hispanics have been desolate for many generations. Our ghettos are desolate right now. Our homeland is desolate right now. It's being trampled over by the Gentiles. And it just said that they're going to build those old wastes, the former desolations, and repair them. The ones from many generations ago, man, that the white man is responsible for. The nation of Edom just destroys everything, man. They destroyed our homeland. And then now they take us into captivity and destroy that land that we're living in. They destroy the whole earth. As the scripture says, the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. They destroy the earth, man. They damn go ahead and dive into the sea and eat the things that clean the ocean, man. Esau is a monster. They're gonna have to repair all this stuff, especially our homeland, our headquarters, Jerusalem. And again, that's a form of servitude. They're gonna be bondmen and bondwomen doing it. They're not gonna be like, you know what? 7 years, I'm done cleaning up my mess. They're bondmen till the day they're extinct, Esau. And that goes for the other nations as well. They're gonna be bondmen and bondwomen as well. Read verse 5.
Another one, verse 5. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers.
All right. So now, Salakia. That's clear what it says. The strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and they will be they're gonna be tending to our cattle. Said they're gonna be nursing their kings are gonna be nursing our children, and you know what I'm saying? They're gonna be sweeping our floors and everything, man. They're going to be rebuilding things. You know, the white man loves construction so much, and opening up construction companies and blowing up condos in the ghetto. Don't worry, you're gonna get that. Except you're not gonna be building up your condo. You're gonna be building up our temple and our homes. They'll get all the construction work they need. The damn devils, man, just trying to build condos everywhere in the ghettos, man. Don't worry, it's coming, and they're gonna feed our flock. They're gonna plow. They're gonna do everything, man. You're gonna say, "Do this," I'm gonna do it. Again, slavery is a righteous thing in the eyes of the Most High. Go ahead, read verse 6.
Another one, come. But ye shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall you boast yourselves.
Right. Can you go to Jeremiah chapter 30 and 16, Baba Kasha? So now again, but while that's going on, we're going to be named priests of the Lord, man. Like in Exodus 19 and 5, he said, if you shall obey my voice, indeed you shall be a nation of kings and priests, for all the earth is mine. But ye shall be named priests of the Lord. Right now, as like Hosea 4 and 6, we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge, and you shall be no priest to me. That's what it says, because we're not keeping the commandments. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be priests of the Lord, and that involves a lot of things. Us serving the Most High, it's not only going to involve keeping the commandments, it's going to involve keeping these nations in check and making sure they're not eating bat somewhere in an alleyway in China. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be in charge of all that, making sure their gold is coming up to Jerusalem, making sure they're coming up to the three times a year for the feasts, for the holy convocations. They got to keep those. They all got to come up. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it means to be a priest. There's a lot of stuff involved with being a priest, and most importantly is serving your people. Most importantly, right now of all times, is to serve your people. So while they're being our slaves, we'll be the priests of the Lord, man. When you got Jeremiah, you can go ahead.
Salaki, was that verse 9?
Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 16.
16. Another one coming. So the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 16. Therefore all that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity.
They shall go into what?
Shall go into captivity.
They shall be free.
Go into captivity.
That says the Most High, man. They shall go into captivity. Isaiah said it. Jeremiah saying it. Man, this is more than 2 witnesses. This is more than 3 witnesses now. We got the witnesses from the law and the prophets. So clearly it's going to happen, man. They are going into captivity. You can go ahead and continue reading.
Another one, Khan. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. And
this, again, can be a precept for the one you brought out, Revelations 13 and 10. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. We're going to get that too. This is also a precept. They that have devoured thee shall be devoured, and they that led thee into captivity shall go into captivity. They spoiled us, we're going to spoil them. And another precept, which we're not going to get into, but in Isaiah, the 39th chapter, it says we're going to rob those that robbed us. That's the word he uses, rob. You know? So that's what's going to happen to them. And it's just, they always talk about, these heathen, man, they're always talking about, oh, the law of karma, and you reap what you sow, and do good, and the good will come to others. Well, how about destroying a whole nation of people and stealing their land and raping and slavering and murdering them? Is the law of karma coming for that? And they say, oh, no, that's I can't wait for the judgment to come. I can't wait. Paul talked about karma long before any of these heathens did, man. We don't call it karma necessarily, but he talked about that concept long ago. The man who wrote Ecclesiasticus, he talked about it in the 7th chapter. Do good and no harm shall come to you. Paul said in Galatians 6 and 7, whatever a man sow, that shall he reap. We our people knew about this long ago. Well, the white man's just catching up to it now, man. Just got out the caves and now they're the law of karma. Just be good and man, your forefathers going into slavery, and because you guys are benefiting off of the land that your people raped and murdered for, now we got to do it to your people. Now we're gonna rape them and rape their women, of course, and do the things that they did to us. We're gonna keep it within the law. For the most part, we're gonna benefit off the land that they're gonna slave on, and that's just how it is. You reap what you sow. You know what I'm saying? Get me. Was that it for that verse? Yeah, that was it. Let's go to Amos 9:11 and 12. This is another popular verse. Amos 9:11 and 12, man, because there's gonna and we're gonna break down a quick misconception about it. You know what I'm saying? About because they'll try to say that this verse is, again, it's not talking about Edomite slaves. It's talking about remnant of them is going to be saved. You know what I'm saying? We're going to break that down. You know what I'm saying? So when you got that, you can go ahead and read that out.
The book of Amos, chapter 9, in verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
You want to go ahead and try it? What does that mean, the tabernacles of David?
Raise up the tabernacle. Is that just his throne?
Yeah, you can basically say it's kind of his throne, his kingdom, his ruling, his righteousness. The way, because you know how the Most High said that David was a man that had a heart after the Most High.
Right.
That's what David's always meant to David this, David that, because that was the man that pleased the Most High. His only sin that it says was taking his what's his name, Uriah's wife. That was his only sin. Other than that, his mind was straight after the Most High. Keep in mind, he killed a lot of people, man. He had to subdue a lot of nations. Still says his mind was after the Most High.
Right.
So that's why it's always mentioning David, and you're absolutely right. It's not talking about and it's also dealing with the temple, but it's not talking about a tabernacle like one we had in the wilderness. He obviously didn't have that. He constructed he had the plan to construct the temple. His son built it in his place, but that's what it's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So that's absolutely right. So go ahead and read verse. Or did you finish that one? Yeah. Go ahead and read. Oh, you didn't finish it yet?
Sir. I'm still on verse 11.
All right, go ahead.
And I will build it as in the days of old. Verse 12. That they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen, which are called by my name, saith the Lord that does this.
Wow. Now you got a Christian saying to you, well, look, this says all the heathen and the remnant of Edom, which are called by my name. How would you break that down? It clearly says that they're heathen that are called by the Lord's name. What would you say?
So there's gonna be the Lord's gonna destroy the house. He's gonna destroy Edom.
I couldn't hear you. There was a bit of background.
There was a prophecy in Obadiah that the Lord was going to destroy all of Edom, and before they get destroyed, there's going to be, I think there's going to be a remnant, or after he destroys most of them, there's going to be a remnant left, and those remnant are going to be, they're going to go into slavery.
Not quite, because it doesn't say there'd be a remnant of them. They're actually every one of them is going to go extinct. I think what I understand what you're trying to say. I think you're saying like before they go extinct, they're going to be slaves. Yes, we do teach that, but they're going extinct completely. So what is this remnant of Edom? What does that mean? You want to try, Officers of budget? I don't know if we're in Amos. We're in Amos 9 and 11. And we're actually in verse 12 right now. This remnant of Edom. It's real simple too. You know what I'm saying? We got this broken down to me. I'm like, wow, that's so plain. It's like plain in sight. You know, but the Christians take that, say, oh man, Esau's about to be, there's gonna be a remnant left, and they're gonna be saved, and they just take this verse and just blow it up into something that is not. You know what I'm saying? I'll quickly explain it. It's not that deep. Basically, what it's saying is you got to read it properly, because there's commas and things. When it says that they, you got to think of that they for a second. We're gonna pause there. That they may possess. That's talking about us. That we are going to possess something. You know what I'm saying? So now when you keep reading, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen. All right, pause. Right, which are called by my name. The which are called by my name is talking about the beginning of the verse. It's they. That's how you break that down. That's what the verse is saying. That's what it means. Because it cannot mean a remnant of Edom, because Edom is going extinct, according to Obadiah 1 and 18. So what it's saying is that they may possess the remnant of Edom and of the heathen, which are called by my name. They which are called by my name. His elect, his chosen, which is the I.S.U.P.K, of course. You know what I'm saying? That's how you would break that verse down. It's not talking about no remnant of Esau that's going to live happily ever after. Obadiah already, look, the Most High's word doesn't come back void. They're going extinct for the crimes they committed. It's clear. That's it. Look, Jeremiah 49 in the, I forget which verse, it says that all the seed of Esau is spoiled. The whole seed is spoiled. So no, there can't be a remnant left of them. You know what I'm saying? Officer Zabaja, could you bring me to Ezra chapter 4 and verse 20 real quick? We're gonna break that down. So no, there is no remnant of Edom. We're going to possess them, and then we know what the prophecy says from there on. They're gonna go extinct, and all the heathen round about. All right. So whenever you got that one, that's Ezra 4 and 20. But yeah, there's a verse in Jeremiah 49th and 10th. Jeremiah 49 and 10. It says that all of his seed is spoiled. So it's like if you got spoiled milk, you save a remnant of it. You know what I'm saying? You don't keep a remnant of a little bit of spoiled milk. It's all spoiled. That's what it is. So all right, whenever you got that one, officer, you can go ahead.
Ezra 4 verse 20. There have been mighty kings also over Jerusalem, which have ruled over all countries beyond the river, and toll, tribute, and customs was paid unto them.
Trooper Shariwan, can you get me Psalms 2 and 8? So Ezra 4:20 just said that. So now the context quickly, the kings of the different nations that were ruling at that time, they were sending letters back and forth, and they were really concerned about the children of Israel going back to Jerusalem. They were not happy about it, because it just said why. Because he said in his letter, they of old, their kings have ruled over the countries of the east, meaning slavery and servitude. They have made them slave and pay tribute, it says, which is taxes. So they were real concerned about that. They didn't want it to happen, and they were kind of discussing it. They were taking crafty counsel. They've always been taking crafty counsel on us. You know what I'm saying? So that's just wanted to add that quick to show you we were ruling all the nations, man, and we read that in Deuteronomy 15. Go ahead when you got Psalms 2 and 8 up, and go ahead and read that.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 2 and verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give the heathen for thine inheritance.
What? Say it again.
Ask of me, and I shall give the heathen for thine inheritance.
Go ahead.
And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession.
The uttermost parts of the earth. Remember in Exodus 19 and 5, he said, all the earth is mine. All the earth is mine. So I'm gonna give you the uttermost. You're gonna be ruling over all the parts of the earth that belong to me. So now, you're gonna take the heathen for a what? What does it say?
Take the heathen for thine inheritance.
And what did we read in Leviticus 25? You can take the heathen, they and their children, as an inheritance for you and your children forever. And these are the Psalms, man. These are the hymns they sing in Christian churches, man. They don't read this one. Why don't they read it? I never heard this one. How come they don't read that one? They got a little agenda going on, it seems. They just want to talk about the love of Christ and sing aloud to the Lord and bless his name, all ye Gentiles. But what about that one? You know what I'm saying? Hey, sing while they're serving, I don't mind. Unless they sound good, I might whip you, but they're going to be our inheritance. Officers of Badja, can you bring me to Psalms 149 and 6? And then Super Charlie 1, you can bring me to that verse you brought earlier, Revelation 13 and 9.
Khan, Salakia. 149 and 6.
Yeah, Psalms 149 and 6. This is a heavy precept right here. About slavery.
Psalms 149 and 6. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand.
Salakia. So do you know what it means when it says a two-edged sword?
La.
All right, so it's manifold. We teach in the I.S.U.P.K that some verses are manifold, meaning there's two meanings. There's a spiritual and a physical meaning. The two-edged sword is not only literal, as we're going to see in the rest of the verses, but a two-edged sword, the precept would be Hebrews chapter 4 and 12, chapter 4, verse 12, which talks about the word of the Most High. These scriptures is like a two-edged sword, piercing even the soul and spirit, dividing them asunder. You know what I'm saying? That's what so it's talking about both. Now, you would say, yeah, the word has prophesied you're going into slavery or you're going to be killed. So you could also, it's both. You know what I'm saying? Joshua took over the nation, not by reading the law to the Canaanites, but he actually killed them. So it's both. You know what I'm saying? In this context right now, we're dealing with physical, because we're gonna read on. So go ahead and read verse 7.
Psalms 149 verse 7. To execute vengeance upon the heathen and the punishments upon the people.
To execute vengeance upon the heathen, man, and punishments. Officer of 500 IDR brought an excellent verse one time in class, man. It's in like Ecclesiasticus 38 that said he'll never be slack to execute vengeance on the heathen. The Most High is in the business of executing vengeance. That's why Romans 12 says not to take vengeance upon yourselves, because it's the Most High's business. He loves that business. He's like, I'm not giving my business to you right now. Let me deal with it. I got it. That's how the Most High is saying. He loves that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But of course, now we can't forget about the scriptures that say that he would give vengeance to Esau by the hand of his people. Officer Abban brought that out a few times. That's in Ezekiel 35. You know what I'm saying? We can get to that another day. But some of the vengeance that's carried out, like some things we don't have to do, Akim. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have to make coronavirus. Obviously, we didn't have to do it. The Most High did that all by himself. He put it in the spirit of that Moabite to go ahead and take a bite out of that bat, and there it is. There's his vengeance on the people right now, and we just had to sit back in lockdown and social distancing. We didn't have to do nothing, and that is what that verse means, man. Let vengeance be the Most High's. And it says in verse 7 to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments. But now other times it's physical. We're gonna have to go to war. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take them captives whose captives they were. So you have to have a working knowledge of the Bible, understand when and where it's applied. Like, man, just to sidetrack real quick, like I was reading the news article, I sent it to man above me, like it said that there's a The coronavirus is ramping up worse than ever. I don't know if you guys have been catching up, but the coronavirus is getting bad. Like, there's more cases than there was ever. Now there's 2 new deaths. And on top of that, there's a new symptom for when you get the coronavirus. The new symptom is having a stroke. So if you catch the coronavirus, you can get a stroke. And I was saying to Officer Bond, like, man, the Most High is bringing a second wave, and he's more mad than ever. His words. How does a virus just change like that? First it was symptoms of coughing, not breathing. And now you get a stroke. That's, man, if you can't see the hand of the Most High is on this, I don't know what will make you see. How does that change like that? That he literally, with his word, man, he just said, okay, I'm gonna make it worse. Just like the plagues of Egypt, man. Just like the plagues of Egypt. That's deep, you know what I'm saying? So just sidetrack quick. We gotta be prepared, you know what I'm saying? Things might get bad again. Commanding General YAHANNA already made a video about this, prophesying that things are gonna get bad in the winter. So of course, his word came back right, because things are getting real bad. They're talking about having another lockdown, and all of this is because they oppressed the children of Israel, man. And this is vengeance on them. It's gonna get bad. Their businesses are going to nothing now, man. So that's just to quickly sidetrack, you know what I'm saying? But you can go ahead and read verse 8. Here's the meat of these verses right now.
Psalms 149, verse 8. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron.
So, to bind, what does that mean, to bind their kings with chains? Is that spiritual? It can't be spiritual, because a Christian will be like, oh, they'll quote like what we read, Psalm 61, oh, he came to set the captives free and to loose the chains. Well, that was spiritual and physical concerning our people. Spiritually meaning like, being bogged down in sin and having sin weighed over us. And then physical being actual captives. He came to set us free. He doesn't want our people as slaves. But this right here, it just said that we're going to bind their kings with chains. These are these psalms, man, that they don't sing in church. How come nobody has sung this to me when I was in the Seventh-day Adventist church?
Right.
I never heard this at Wednesday night Bible study. Have you guys heard it? I haven't. I have not heard that. If you want to give your input, so you can go ahead. Officer Zabaji, if you want to say something, man, because that's heavy. I never heard this before.
Sir, it's like the songs I heard with like the songs and the hymns, like I don't even know if the songs we were singing in church when I went to church and when I went to Seventh-day Adventist church, if those were actual songs from the Bible. They just don't sound like, when I think about them today, they don't even sound like nothing from the Bible. And just to touch on like what you were speaking on earlier, like a stroke from coronavirus. If I'm not mistaken, strokes can make you paralyzed.
You can die, you can be paralyzed, you can have brain damage, nerve damage. These are all results of strokes. That's no joke.
Yeah, that the Most High is not playing still. He don't play around, man. Like, why would you want to go against him?
Yeah, so I just got that because I download those news apps on my phone, so I get like the latest news. So I sent it right away. I'm gonna send it to you guys. It's crazy, and not only that, like me and my rib were reading an article about people who have had coronavirus and then overcame it. Now they have neurological damage in their brain.
Salaki, I seen that article.
Yeah, like that's, man. If this is not no regular cold, man. If you can't see this in the plague from the Lord, we need to get an I.S.U.P.K and come get the understanding, man. Because that's crazy. You can have nerve damage from that stuff, man. Strokes are no joke. And Most High just go ahead and add that in there as one of the symptoms. And Most High is not playing, man.
Just a little sprinkle.
Right. So
a sprinkle of stroke.
Yeah, exactly. And I was crazy because Officer Zabaji, you brought up a point. Like this whole lockdown has made us had to sit down and watch a man have a knee on his neck for 10 minutes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we had to sit here and watch that. And that was probably the Most High saying to these nations, are you guys going to repent now? Nope. All right. Here's a stroke with the coronavirus, and it's going to keep getting worse, and it's going to keep getting worse. And that's it. And hey, man, you may harden their hearts just like you did to Pharaoh. The prophets already prophesied it. So, all right, go ahead and you can read verse. We read verse 8. Bind their kings with chains. That's slavery. That is servitude. That is not spiritual. Read verse 9.
Verse 9. To execute upon them the judgment written, this honor hath all his saints. Praise ye the Lord.
This honor has all his saints. Just quickly, saints does not mean anybody that follows the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or anybody that believes in the gospel of Caesar Borgia. That's not what a saint is. A saint, according to the Bible, Psalms 50:5 says, "Come to me, all ye saints that have made a sacrifice by fire unto the Lord." If you read Exodus 24, our people made a sacrifice by fire. They had a pillar in Exodus 24, a pillar for each tribe of the nation of Israel, and they sent princes and young men up to the altar to make a sacrifice. That's a covenant. That's what a saint is. It's not talking about anybody, because if it is talking about anybody, that means what? The nations are going to come and enslave us and bind our kings with chains? That's not what it's talking about. We've already been through that. It's talking about the vengeance for what they have done. Not oh yeah, you did it and then you're going to do it again. Like we said, oh, so you guys are going to build a whole kingdom off of our ancestors and then you're going to come into the kingdom of heaven? No, that's not how the Most High works. That's not what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? All right, that was the end of that. Trooper, if you got that verse, you can go ahead and read that.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 13 and verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with a sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and
Salah, go ahead.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Now again, if any man has an ear, let him hear. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. You brought it out earlier. Those are the words of Yahawashi, man, who the world calls Jesus Christ. There's no more needs to be said. We already know he's the final authority. He is the king. You know what I'm saying? He's the king of us. He is the one that possesses. He's gonna have possession over all the earth. That's it, man. He said, "He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity." That's pretty much it. I don't think we need to go any further. If anybody had any questions or comments, you can go ahead and add that. But other than that, we're gonna wrap it up. I think that's real clear, man. Slavery is biblical. Slavery and servitude is a thing that is of the Most High. He condones it. We in the I.S.U.P.K say yes, the Most High condones it. It's in our history book. You know what I'm saying? So anybody want to add anything or add any questions, you go ahead. Other than that, we're gonna wrap up the class.
La, sir.
All right, Officer Zabaja, you wanted to add anything?
I'm too up.
All right, no sweat. All right, so that is today's Wednesday law class. Again, slavery and servitude is biblical. Like and share and subscribe. Share this with the nation of Israel. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West, Harlem, New York, 125th Street, under commanding General YAHANNA. My name is Officer Darash at 50. Shalom, Israel.